So in a way, Segpay is a safety net.
Yes. It's a big safety net. A lot of regulators and Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, and others, they look to us to help them in the market to make sure that everything is done well and done properly and done right.
You're watching the Segpay News Network, and today we're talking to Sean Chambers, in charge of both technical and customer support here at Segpay. All right, Sean, thanks for taking time out to talk with us. Tell us about your job here at Segpay. What do you do day to day?
Okay, so my job is to get our merchants integrated into our SegPay platform. We basically support them from the beginning to the end of making sure all their technical items are taken care of, making sure that they're able to up and process, and just get them set up.
So for merchants out there, there's a 2 or 3 step process. One, you gotta get through the onboarding with sales, right? Know your customer, all the documentation, then they're handed off to you. Is that right?
Right.
Or does this all happen simultaneously?
In most cases, we usually like to get them through the boarding process and everything else like that because we don't want to invest the time of getting them integrated if they don't get
You
approved.
gotta get approved first, right?
But then there's some cases where, sales will have an idea that they're going to definitely get approved. We may jump ahead and get them in the system, get them started so they can get a faster turnaround time.
Our tagline here at SegPay is all the way to paid. And that seems to work across the board here, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about what your part or parts of all the way to paid are.
Okay, so our part basically is, once we get them into the integration process, we support them, handhold them, do everything we can to get them up and processing, get them live, and have them running transactions successfully.
And the technical aspects, is it daunting or is it fairly easy for the merchants?
It depends. Some merchants, like our smaller merchants, it might be a little daunting for them, but we kind of work with them. We handhold them. We give them any kind of assistance we can to get them up and processing. Our bigger merchants, they're pretty used to the whole process and they get through it pretty quickly and easily.
So don't be afraid. Trust the team here at SegPay, right? All right, let's talk about your life before SegPay. What did you do before you came here?
Wow. Okay. So, before I came to Segpay, I worked for IBM for 10 years. I was a support representative there, and I took care of a client, American Express, and dealt with all of their technical items there, computer support, server support, things like that.
Wow. So what's it like going from a big corporation like an IBM to working for a basically a startup entrepreneurial?
Yeah, actually, when I was told of the job and I came, there was only 5 people in the company. So I was like, I would have been the sixth one. And I was very hesitant because I was thinking I'm leaving a really big company to come to a much smaller company. And I was like, am I going to be able to succeed in such a small company and go through all that? But it actually worked out really well.
So how long you been here now with SegPay?
This is going to be my 17th year.
So you were employee number 6.
Yeah, I was number 6. Yeah.
So how have things changed over 16, 17 years?
Oh, wow. Well, in the beginning, you wear a lot of hats. You do a lot of different things. And as we're starting to get bigger, we're starting to diversify. And, everybody has their areas of things that they're going to focus on and things that they're going to do.
How would you say your role and your team's role helps SegPay reputation with the merchants?
So I pride myself in making sure that everything that we do is a representation of SegPay. One of the mottos that I have for my team is that, we are the face of SegPay. Everybody outside of this company, they deal with us. They deal with my team. So I make sure that we're always working to do the best we can to help, and we're always making sure that we're polite, making sure that we're respectful, and that we treat everybody fairly.
Cool. And if you go to the website, I want you to check out the animated videos that we have. Sean is not only here in person, he's also a star in the video. I think you're dancing in one of the
I'm
videos.
dancing, you got me on the beach, and all kinds of things like
So
that.
it's funny, but part of that was that if you take a day off, there's somebody that's got your
Absolutely.
back, right?
Absolutely. Always. My team's great with that. My team has everything covered. I don't have to worry about not being here. They're a great team.
But it's literally 24/7.
Well, the 24/7 portion, I wanna make sure that I get that part clear. The 24/7 portion is for our customers,
Yeah.
and our customers being the customers of our merchants. For support, we're here. We're available 24/7, but we're really here, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. For our customers, we're here 24/7.
So you have 2 parts then. You have
Yes.
the technical part,
Right.
and then you have the customer support part.
Correct.
So that's very important,
Yes,
right?
it is very important. The customer support part is basically making sure that the customers that are making purchases and doing transactions, that they always have somebody to talk to find out what their transactions are for, to make sure that they if they have any issues, access, billing, that they can be addressed 24/7.
And now Segpay has offices, of course, in South Florida, but around the world, literally. What's it like to see a company grow like that?
Oh, it's pretty amazing actually, just to see from, like I said, like fifth, sixth person to look to see, now we're like 50, 60 people and just to see the different diversified people and everybody that comes in and their contributions and everything that they add, it's really, really pretty amazing.
Has it gotten easier to onboard clients and support them or tougher over the years?
I think it's probably it hasn't gotten easier, it hasn't gotten tougher. I just think that there are less things that my team has to worry about because now there's other people to take care of that, like compliance issues and any kind of onboarding with the bank issues and things like that. We really get to focus on just being technical.
The different payment options have changed over the years,
Yes,
right?
they have. We've added quite a few, crypto we added a few years ago. We're working on adding SEPA. We're working on adding all different types of payment options.
Let's explain SEPA, what
Yeah.
that means to just the average merchant out there. Because you know what? Nowadays, you're not just limited to the United States,
Right,
right? If you
exactly.
know how to grow, you can do this globally, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, SEPA is basically just payments that are specified for just certain regions that people can pay in their own their own currencies and billing formats versus using credit card or things like that.
And part of that is paying the merchants the way they want to be paid.
Right, of course. And you also have to allow customers to pay in the way that they want to pay. If you want to try and get the money any way you
Well, that's the ticket, right? Because it is all about the end user who's making that purchase through the merchant that comes to you, right?
absolutely.
Is making sure that we allow those people to pay the way they want to pay.
Correct. Make sure they pay they want to pay, make sure that when they make their payments, they feel comfortable. Some people feel comfortable making payments and instead of USD, maybe they want to pay in Norwegian krona, so they have the ability to pay in any kind of currency they want to pay.
How many currencies do we support now?
Off the top of my head, I'm going to say 13. Don't hold me to that. I'd have to really look to make sure. Notice, but something like that.
Still amazing, right?
Yes, it is.
Beyond USD,
USD, GBP, Euro, you have all these other different currencies.
the things like KYC, you have to worry about that too on an ongoing basis, right?
Yeah, yeah, we worry about it as like see something, say something. So basically, while we're doing our integration process, it's not really our job to make sure KYC is there, but if we do see things that look questionable, we raise flags for those.
And so you just have to raise your hand and say, hey guys, this could be a problem
Yes.
because they could get fined,
Correct.
they could get shut down,
Correct.
right?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, you don't want to have that happen.
And you touch every department here at SegPay. Do you talk to everybody every day?
Yeah, I would say that we're kind of like a hub. And we talk to the compliance team, we talk to the sales team, we talk to internal teams, product, QA. We talk to everybody because essentially we are the face of the customers and the merchants.
So you talk to merchants, you know what's going on in this industry. What is SegPay's reputation in the market?
From my perspective, what I see is that SegPay is held in a high regard. I think we work really hard to make sure that merchants have somebody to talk to. They have real-time contacts. I know you see if you look on the site, you'll see that every merchant that we have configured has a direct chat line to their sales rep, to the technical team, and then we can assist them with any issues that they have.
So all the way to paid is not just a slogan.
No, not at all. Not at all. We're there. Once you shake the hand and you sign the contract and you're in with us, we're there with you all the way to pay.
So it works, right? And it's not just a slogan, it's really a philosophy.
Yes, it is. It's a philosophy, yeah. But
So well, we started out Visa, MasterCard, right, accepting those as payment options. And then things changed a few years ago with PayPal coming on
sure
board.
did. It was a big thing. PayPal came on board, and that was a big win for us. We were really happy that that happened.
So it was almost you had to convince them that this was a legitimate
Yes.
business market, right?
Yes, correct. PayPal, they had to prove to them that, not only was it a legitimate business market, but that we were the type of company that would work to make sure that everything was, above board, regulated.
How do you motivate your team?
I keep my team motivated, I keep them challenged. I make sure that, they always have opportunities to learn. There's always things to learn. There's always challenges to pick up on, and I always make sure that they have an outlet to things that they're interested in. I always try to gear people towards what they're interested in. I'm not going to put you someplace where you're not really interested in or you're not excited about it. I want you to be excited.
And now we're expanding even further around the world,
Yes,
right?
we are. Yeah.
We're going down under next.
Yes, we are. That's going to be a pretty fun, interesting thing. Yeah, I'm
So what
looking
do you
forward
think
to it.
about all that when you see the company grow from 5 employees to 60, from the United States, Europe? Ireland.
Oh, I love it. I love the fact that I've invested so much of my time, here because I always everything that you touch, you see immediate growth.
It works, right?
Yeah, it works. And you see
Now,
how
Segpay does a lot of trade shows, right? Do you
yeah,
ever go out and meet people?
I've been to a couple of the trade shows, I've been to a couple and met people, and it's fun to put a face to the person you've been talking to and, have a drink with them and talk to them.
What do you think Segpay's reputation is in the marketplace?
I think we have a good reputation. I think we work really hard to try and have a good reputation. Some people may think we're a little difficult, but at the end of the day, they'll see why we are. We know we're looking out for their best interests as well as ours and the customers. I think that in the beginning, they may feel, oh, you guys are a little too strict or this and this and this.
But that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
You do the work on the front end, and that way, there's not garbage coming back on the back end because chargebacks,
Yeah.
fines,
Yes.
takedowns. I mean, this gets serious that your business could be shut down
Serious and expensive. Mhm.
if you're not if you don't have a partner like SegPay to help you through the compliance, through the know your customer, all these challenges, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Is there any project that stands out to you that you're really proud of that you guys were able to make something happen?
I don't have a specific project, but there's been a lot of things we've been working on with payment orchestrators that allow us to have merchants just easily integrate with us. Just make things much easier for them so they can just plug themselves in and be up and running.
So is that like I'm not very technical, but is that like APIs and things like
Yeah, like
that?
APIs and things like that. This is something new we've been working with over the past 5 years that basically you'll go to a payment orchestrator and they'll say, hey, I have an account with Segpay. Can you get me set up? And they just like one, two, three, they plug them in and they're ready to go.
So let's talk about things that grow a merchant's business. Like retention's very important. Features like cancel keep. Can you talk about things like that, what that means?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, CancelKeep and all of our features are basically designed to try and keep sales going. CancelKeep, somebody goes in and says, hey, I don't want to be billed anymore. We offer that. You can get this at a discount price. And it's just a way to try and keep customers in the system and keep them billing.
Because it's so hard to land a customer in the first place. So if you can keep the customer you have, grow that business, that's where it's at, right? So are you guys kind of constantly monitoring that, how you could help the merchant make more money?
Sure. We're always trying to figure out how to keep them up and running and keep the customers in the system and keep the customers happy. And yeah, we're always trying to work with things like that, special features.
I think it's also important for merchants to be able to see activity like reporting, right? Are you constantly trying to improve those processes?
Absolutely, yeah. Reporting can always be improved. We always take suggestions. We always try to do what we can to try and make the reporting as adherent and concise as possible for the merchants to be able to get what they need, data they need.
So do you see SegPay being a leader from here on
Absolutely,
out?
absolutely, yeah. Segway should be the leader. I mean, we're gonna be. We're gonna be the leader for sure.
All right, Sean, excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.